This Thursday night football props edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey everybody, Joe Theismann here. You're listening to SGPN. So do this, let it ride.
The Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Week 11, Sean, already upon us.
Week 11,
absolutely unbelievable.
Kicking things off with some Thursday night football. I mean, it's almost early November here, November, even the end of October. It's over. God's eye is just jammed to the gills with action. We got Maction up there. We got a little college basketball. I think we both did better on our locks on this episode from the Monday.
1 and 2 for me.
Oh, okay. I was 2 and 1.
Nice job. Sean.
1 and 2 was an improvement, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So we're gearing into shape with our college basketball locks. Ryan, you're coming off an incredible week in the NFL. Lock, dog, and tease, both locks.
12 and 4 over my last 16 locks. 8 weeks of NFL football,
and we're turning around the Circa Millions on a 13 and 7 run. Last 20 picks, decently above Sean, 500.
Only 100 people 5 and 0 in the quarter.
Yeah, 4 and 1 in the quarter.
We are only 100 back of first place.
I feel like if we go 18 and 2, maybe I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but just staying hot in the NFL. Couple notes to get to. We're going to be joined by Britton Hess from the Daily Dog here coming up in a few minutes. Talk Thursday night props. I have to respond, Ryan. I'm morally obligated to respond to everyone who's reached out and saying they're stealing your take, Sean.
Oh, good. Thank
you. They're stealing your take.
I thought we were doing another Bo Nix thing.
No. The Bo Nix clip is out. Shout out to my fellow Bo heads. Bo knows covers. I did. And
Sean, we need a Bo knows something shirt.
Yeah.
Sean knows Bo. That's the shirt.
Bo knows green. Everyone's like, why is Sean always picking the Broncos? The Broncos are 7 and 2 ATS.
True.
And why are you always picking the Steelers? Steelers are also right up there as some of the best teams ATS.
True.
Ryan, 2 of the teams we were high on, Steelers and Cardinals, and the Broncos have been great ATS, exceeding expectations. Yes, we had a stinker in there with the Titans, but we've been ahead of market. What I'm getting at is on August 14th, I released a clip via Audi or Clip God or social media channels saying that Deion Sanders will be the Cowboys' next head coach, according to me. And I don't know why it took so long, Ryan, but now it's like November 12th and we're getting Rex Ryan saying Deion Sanders may be in play for the Cowboys' next head coach. We're saying, some guy from Get Up who I don't know, something Foxworth 24, Dominique Foxworth saying
cornerback, former cornerback.
Deion is actually the perfect person for this situation. Stephen A. Smith even calling for Deion Sanders. Outkick.com had a piece on it.
I mean, if you got the take,
so if you're going to be a take thief, just say on August 14th, you consider yourself journalists. Just cite the source. On August 14th, Sean Green started this take.
Do you think Stephen A. will cite you?
He would if he was. If
he feels like an honorable take, man. Some of his takes are quite corny.
Yes.
He's good at it though. So isn't this where you say where this is nothing more than a compliment?
Yeah, I mean, thievery is the ultimate compliment. Some may say. Chat is lit. We got our Making Bacon, our favorite New Zealand butcher, in there. Caleb Main wanting to know, is Goff MVP a good sprinkle? I don't know. I mean, the 5 interception game is going to stay with people, and you got Lamar up there. You got Josh Allen.
The overreaction, I think, is worth betting into.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way.
Right?
Both things can be true.
Yeah.
You probably will end up, if you bet Jared Goff, and I know FanDuel is like the outlier at like 38-1. The rest of the books didn't seem to adjust so much.
The rest are still down in the 15.
Yeah.
range.
So if you bet 38-1 on FanDuel, when the season ends, will you have CLV? Yeah, I think so. Will you win? No, I don't think so. So
whoa, well, is it having CLV winning?
No, some would say that's the ultimate win. I would actually like to win the damn thing. Maybe Jalen Hurts, Ryan.
Okay.
If the Eagles are the number 1 seed, I think I would. It's probably neck and neck with Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts doesn't have a 5 interception game in prime time to sway people's mind, and he's come in second place in the MVP voting, which Jared Goff has never done. So he's at least smelled the rarefied air of most valuable player.
Okay.
All right. Anything else you want to get to, Ryan?
No, just happy to be here. Week 11, National Football League.
National Football League.
Lasers are very focused on football. College basketball happening. Who gives a shit? College football happening.
Hey, save it for the college basketball shows.
Just let them. Well, the NFL folks are here. They'll want.
Yeah,
they'll enjoy. Colby's people aren't here right now.
They know the joy of professional football. Joining us on the line, the host of the Daily Dog on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, Mr. Britton Hess. Britton, we know you're a Steelers fan, so perfect time to get your reaction to the new addition to the soundboard.
You know I'm a degenerate.
Mike Tomlin, right there. How are you feeling about the Steelers? We had you on for the preview. We got ourselves all in a lather about the ceiling case for this Steelers, and man, off to a great start. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. And honestly, I talked to a bunch of people preseason. I talked to different betting hosts and just bettors who don't have TV shows and network or radio shows and all that stuff. And I talked to sports guys that just don't have money invested in it. Almost unanimous outside of talking to you guys was that Russell Wilson was cooked. He's not cooking. He's cooked. And I came on these very airwaves and I go, he's there for a reason. He's there to be a starter. I know that it's really fun to like get excited about, Justin Fields and Wildcat packages and tearing it up. They want a guy who can protect the ball and who can make some throws. The moon ball is back in session. George Pickens has been unleashed. I know all the, the fantasy people are the worst people on Twitter. But I do appreciate when they do say good things about guys on my team. And they've been talking about how like George Pickens is like a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy since Russell Wilson is there by all of their stats. So that's really cool. And again, I think this team is good. And the fact they were buyers at the deadline is so rare for this team. Like just my whole lifetime, the Steelers aren't buyers at any time. They're like, nope, we'll draft them, we'll grow them. And then once they get egos, we'll get rid of them. But then bringing in,
formula.
Bringing in Mike Williams and Preston Smith at the deadline was awesome. And obviously Preston Smith is going to be important now because Ali Highsmith ankle injury is going to be out. So he's going to have more snaps right off the bat. And then Nick Herbig obviously back as well. So both ends bringing heavy pressure. And we can talk about TJ Watt as well. I don't know if you guys do enough of that on this show.
Oh, still no, he's just so awesome. We'll see where we end up. At least I don't want to speak for Ryan, but Steelers as a dog this week always going to be tempting.
I mean,
division dog.
Yeah, it's a system play, and I was one of them. They were winning. Justin Fields was getting it done. It was probably Justin Fields. He was playing at the best level. He was giving him rushing touchdowns. And I was like, I was a little skeptical, but I did say,
don't you dare question Tomlin.
Say at the end of the day, I trust Tomlin. And it was maybe there were a couple rough throws there, shaking off the rust in that Jets game. And after that, you're like, okay, you were right, Mike Tomlin. You're working over there. I was any sort of hesitation or judgment I threw your way. Well, I was wrong. And that ball he threw to Mike Williams for that touchdown, with the pressure, that was an amazing throw. And I love Mike Williams talking about it, celebrating. He was like, so thankful, blah, 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 touchdown. And then he did like hashtag, here we go, or all this hashtags. And then he also hashtag red line, because if you remember, that was the route that Aaron Rodgers called him out. And it was, I guess, a red line route for those who know ball. So Good to see Mike Williams landed in a happy place. And I'm gonna, you guys, the Steelers are on the schedule, Britton. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to turn against you guys. But it's been fun betting on this Steelers team because, again, defense is awesome, and this version of the offense it certainly works, and we're kind of seeing the ceiling case for it.
It's really impressive to see Najee Harris continue to develop. He still doesn't really have like instincts of a running back, but he still is really big, strong, and powerful. And he has realized that if he just lowers his head and runs into the back of the line, he'll probably get positive yards. So no need to get too crazy with it. Obviously, Cordero Patterson, love having him out there. Is that like the most ridiculous trajectory of an NFL career you've ever seen? Of like, he's a deep threat wide receiver turned power back, like in his late 30s.
First round pick too. He's the guy. He's one of the guys that I wish he would have landed with a coach that would have been like, all right, this looks like a fun puzzle to figure out. You look like you're good at football. Arthur Smith didn't even figure him out. He's just like, oh yeah, I just want to put the ball in your hands. But imagine if he showed up to like a Shanahan offense when he was young. Oh, I mean, honestly, that was, and if you remember him from college, I'm blanking on the guy that he was there with. I feel like it was Hunter or something like that. But yeah, I mean, he's so big and physical. How the fuck did someone not figure that out? No, you know what? Just return kickoffs.
You were the one who said he was a top 10 football player at some point. That was like last year, right?
I know.
No, so
you're starting a team right now. You're picking teams on the playground.
I like Cordero Patterson. I don't want to disparage him, but you might be a bit high.
Maybe a little high.
All right, transitioning to the game at hand. Philadelphia Eagles at home against the Washington Commanders, aka the Commies. Already got a couple questions in the chat. We'll knock those out real quick. Brad Martin, friend of the program. Wow. He's saying, I see a DK special with Jaden Daniels and Hurts to get 15 rushing yards at plus 350. What do you guys think of that?
That can't be right.
I mean, it must be a special because that certainly shouldn't be priced. Both those guys to get 15 rushing yards at plus 350. That seems.
Yeah, I can do the math on this. I mean, that would.
I mean, if that's how it's laid out, that is a. I'll speak for everyone. That is a smash there. We also got Dominate 07. Is AJ Brown going to go off on Thursday? Yeah, I mean, come on. Have you seen AJ Brown? Have you said
no to that question yet this season?
Well,
no, you haven't.
What's AJ Brown's bad game? I mean, yeah, he did. He tweaked his knee and he didn't finish. His worst game is 5 for 84. So I guess I'm the psycho who keeps thinking 109, 89, 116, 119 are good numbers. But yeah, I'm optimistic. But I will say I have a ladder.
Sound a little defensive.
I have a ladder for a Eagles receiver that's not AJ Brown. Stay tuned. That's quite the tease. You might be able to guess the receiver I'm talking about. Britton,
real quick, yeah. I would imagine that the 15-yard rushing prop for both of these guys is like in the incredibly like minus 500. Like,
well, it might be again. Usually these bonuses they limit the amount, so it's probably like a max 10, 15, $20.
Well, scoop the free money.
Yeah, take that because I definitely like that. Britton, you of course host the Daily Dog Sports Gambling Podcast Network wherever you get your podcasts every day, Monday through Friday, hitting you with these quick episodes, 10 minutes ish, breaking down your favorite picks for Underdog Fantasy. It's been fun. I enjoy tuning in. You cover. I like the cross sports stuff. It's a good mix out there. But we'll start with you. We are not talking fantasy projections right now. We're switching gears, talking props. Hopefully Britton's able to hang. Take off your fantasy projections hat. Put on your props hat. But what is a
completely different world?
Completely different hat. What is a
no condoms?
Yes.
You see, where I come from the game of skill, which is fantasy. And you guys are gambling.
Yeah, gambling it's luck based. So
one of these smart fellas from the north.
Britton gets all the terminology right. Britton, what's a prop you like here for Thursday night?
All right. I like obviously Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown, but I like him to score a touchdown in the second half. Plus 220. Just in icing on the cake mode, put the game away mode, let's add it and let's go up 14, go up 21, go up 10, whatever. Keep it simple. I know that the tush push isn't quite as dominant as it once was. But I was talking to is somebody on the show I do, the Just Win Sports with Amal Shaw. I was talking about, like, you forget how fast Hurts actually is in the open field because he's done such a good job of like subduing that part of his game so that when he actually does take off and run, the defense is surprised. So again, I think that there's this, a long scramble touchdown available as well. But again, I think second half, he's not necessarily going to be wanting to take the hits and get down in the muck early on in the game. But the guy scores a ton of touchdowns on the ground, whether it's a sneak or otherwise. And again, I just think second half, more likely to take that shot with him and let him take the damage and get that second half touchdown at plus 220 as opposed to even money for any time in the game.
Yeah, no, now I feel emasculated because I am giving out Jalen Hurts anytime. I like the second half angle. I think the rushing attempts are probably a pretty good angle here because, like all quarterbacks, big game. They'll be looking, he'll scramble if needed. I project Fred Johnson will still be starting at left tackle, who's done a decent job, but it's certainly not as good as Jordan Mailata, their starting left tackle. The pressure rate has been slightly higher. It's led to a few more sacks, a few more scrambles. So I think rushing attempts over is pretty fun as well. But I mean, in the last 4 games, Hurts has 8 rushing touchdowns. So the fact that they keep pricing it at even money, to me, I say this almost every episode. Smash! Bet Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown every game, 17 games, assuming he plays all 17. I'm saying he's going to go probably 11-6, maybe 10-7. Either way, you're going to be up a nice chunk of change there. It's a system play. I'm hammering it. Kramer, what do you got? What's your first prop?
Well, I think, when you look at the way this Commanders team plays defense, there's an obvious way to attack them. And especially when you actually look at the way that the cornerbacks play, awesome opportunity to hop on AJ Brown over 80.5.
Let's go.
Receiving yards. He's gone over this number, Sean. You wouldn't believe it. In every game, he's stayed healthy.
Oh, you stealing my notes?
How does it feel, motherfucker? So, AJ Brown against this. You could probably play the anytime touchdown too, but AJ Brown to go. I thought about what you like: longest reception, 28.5 yards, or just the yardage prop. Just the yardage prop.
Yeah, I mean the yardage to me is because he's going to get the targets.
Interestingly enough, Sean, and you probably wouldn't want this publicized, but he's actually gone under his receptions prop in every single game except for the Browns game this year. So
what?
He's had 5 catches in a number of games, going under 5.5 catches.
Oh, the catches. Yeah. No, I would definitely not play the catches.
Well, you mentioned that he's going to get the targets. And so I was,
I guess I mean like the targets to warrant.
Downfield targets. That's why I brought up the longest catch, 28.5 yards.
Yeah, no, I mean both.
Method to my madness.
Both are probably good, but I would take total yards if I had to choose.
Yep, I'm on it. First time it's being played on the show all year.
Britton, what do you got? What's another prop?
All right, this is kind of the wild man special. It's actually 3 props in one. First quarter exact score, but it's a 3-pack. They're all 500 to 1. So Eagles 8-3, Eagles 8-0, Eagles 8-7. We know the Eagles love going for 2 for no reason. Eagles get 8, Commanders get 3, 0, or 7. All 501, $10 each. Each one returns $5,000. So obviously, if you hit one of those, you're doing all right on the night right there. And you know what? I don't want to limit you. You can put 100 on it if you want to, have a legendary.
I feel humbled. Just casually rolling out some first quarter squares.
I love this first quarter squares. This is
when you have a team though, like the Eagles that actually do randomly just go for 2 for really no reason. Like you get such a higher payout than you would on a 7, right? So obviously there's risk. They might, just like it's Thursday night, whatever, we'll kick the extra point, or maybe we don't score. But the 8s and the 11s too, with a team like the Eagles, are good value.
Yeah, 100%. I'm totally Yes. Shout
only
out to,
giving out squares for the first quarter, but justifying it as well.
Shout out to Ryan in the chat saying this guy is nuts. I mean, you're winning over some fans left and right, Britton. I can already see the subs piling up for the Daily Dog there. We got the Hashternut checking in again, all-time YouTube username. Making Bacon wants to know about Grant Calcaterra first touchdown with Goddard questionable. No, I'm almost positive. Goddard played last week. I think he's going to be fine this week. There
did not practice. There was a.
Oh, he was limited due to rest.
Okay,
he's
it was
fine.
A vet rest day.
Well, the guys that are like slightly banged up, him, Devonta, they just because of the short week, they're not pushing them.
It was also a walkthrough. Was
yeah.
It not?
So
it's a simulated thing.
The only guy that is practicing that I don't think is going to play would be Mailata. That one's close. And I think because of the extra, whatever, rest coming up, I think they might be slightly careful. And Fred Johnson hasn't been a complete disaster. Certainly Mailata is an upgrade, but yeah, I would plan on Goddard being there, and I would stay away from Calcaterra. I do have some long shot first touchdowns we'll get to. I know everyone's just say, oh, all you're going to do is give positive Eagles props. Well, no, I also have negative Commander props. Terry McLaurin under 59.5 receiving yards. Quinyon Mitchell has had an amazing start to the NFL season. He did a really good job on Jamar Chase. I mean, post bye, the Eagles in general, secondary has been very good. Cooper DeJean, aka JAWN, representing Philly. The secondary in general has been playing really at a high level. Probably the best. I don't know. I mean, right up there with the Bengals offense. I think this Commanders offense, certainly Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, they did a good job on them. And I think they can do a good job slowing down Terry McLaurin under 59.5 receiving yards. Kramer.
Well done.
Thank you.
Do you think Jalen Hurts can do something that Daniel Jones did twice against this Commanders team?
What is that?
Throw for 2 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
Plus 135 for Jalen Hurts to go over 1.5 touchdown passes.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that really hurts his passing touchdowns is his rushing touchdowns.
He's gotten there the last 2 weeks. So plus 135, good number. I think even though the numbers don't exactly match this, I've seen a Commanders team that seems to have gotten better defending the run. And I think if they play the same kind of coverage they have been, AJ Brown is going to dominate. And so if AJ Brown dominates, I assume the passing game will be operating at a high level and they'll be scoring touchdowns through it.
We got a good question / comment from the Hashternut saying over AJ Brown receiving yards with under catches parlayed together sounds juicy. Yeah,
should have saved that nugget to the end.
I mean, there's not a lot of guys I would recommend that for, but I think that's kind of a fun needle if you're looking for a same game parlay. Taking his over yards with the under catches, even alt yards. Could be fun.
Stay tuned to my because
you could get a pretty good over 100 receiving yards, like under 4.5 or under 5.5 catches. That might pay pretty well. Britton, what's another prop for the people?
All right. It's kind of sad to say this, but I do like McLaurin over 59.5. Young Jaden Daniels Jalen Daniels realized that his stats are going to look a lot better if he targets the one legitimate wide receiver he has on his team. So I just think opportunities there. I think there's garbage yards in the second half, makeup yards, and he's going to get 6 to 8 targets in this game and can get 59.5 yards. I don't want to start a war here, though. I can also give you one other semi-positive.
This is perfect.
There's another Commanders one that I like as well. Brian Robinson should be back here. Score touchdown plus 115. 6 touchdowns in 7 games. It's like he's just one of those guys that's kind of old school around the goal line. They're just going to give it to him 2 to 3 times generally, and he's going to have plenty of bites at the apple.
I like that. Good term.
The fact that he had a pivot is great, but I like that he seems to have a very analytical. I know he's a fantasy projection guy.
Yes,
but the fact that he's going head to head with you in one of your props This is diabolical. We'll see who's got the better takes, the fantasy projection guys or the prop guys.
Well, guaranteed winner, Ryan. We just guaranteed a winner for the Sports Gambling Podcast audience. Yes.
It's like Brandon Lang.
One of these, yes. One of these plays are going to come through. Last or third prop for me, Jaden Daniels interception. Yes, even money. I think this is a good time. I mean, this is the biggest game of his career, probably, or maybe the Ravens game. Going on the road, hostile environment. He took a ton of shots. If you watch that Steelers game closely, like thank you, Britton. The Steelers defense really did rough up Jaden Daniels on a short week. We keep highlighting his felt frame. The Eagles have been very good at generating turnovers, generating pressure as of late. Even money for a rookie to throw a interception here in a primetime game, hostile environment. I love it. So I know Jaden Daniels is good. It's going to be a good game, but I think he gets turned over at least once here in the air. Kramer.
Sorry, I was tinkering with the. I will say, if I was young today,
yes,
I would have a real problem. You can really get lost in these sports.
The ocean of options
with all their offerings. I mean, what am I going to do here? All right. I have a couple different options here, Sean, but it's been a couple Thursday nights since we've had a proper kicking prop. So we're going to go right to your guy, Jake Elliott, and we're going to take the under 7.5 points, touchdowns, not field goals.
Under 7.5 kicking points.
Under 7.5 kicking points.
Now, what if they put up 56 points like Michael Vick did back in the day?
That's possible, and I'll
that
be
would
wrong.
be an awesome way for you to lose this prop, Ryan.
Okay, they're not kicking field goals.
No, they really. Nick Sirianni seems to hate field goals.
Well, and the Commanders' defense is such where I think they're either going to be moving the ball or not, and the moving the ball is going to end with touchdowns.
Yeah. No, I'm.
Anyway, also I wanted to see how you reacted to a little shade, a little diversity, little show diversity.
To your point, Ryan, the Eagles haven't been settling for many field goals, and the ones they
don't kick extra points, like Britton was mentioning earlier.
The ones they do, they're like 58 yarders in weird situations. So, the under kicking points. Even though Jake Elliott is a good kicker, I see the case for that. Hey, we got more props coming up, including some ladders.
Clip that negative comment about the Eagles.
Never. He would. Adi knows better.
Sean just said Jake Elliott not a good kicker.
No, I said he is a good kicker.
I don't know. We'll have to check the tape.
Hey, have you guys signed up on BetUS? If not, what are you waiting for? sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Use that promo code SGPN. I know our own Britton has signed up at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS using the promo code SGPN. Deposited, withdrawn. If you want to do the bonuses, 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. They do have some rollovers, so read those before you accept the bonus. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS, America's favorite sports book. They got a prop builder that's second to none. You can get in there, tinker around, make some sweet same game parlays. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS, promo code SGPN. Britton. Is there I know you gave out some bonus props here. Is there any prop that you feel has ladder potential for this Thursday night game? Commanders at the Eagles.
Yeah, no, I got one I identified early. But before that, I just got to tell a little quick story about our friends at BetUS.
Oh yeah.
If you're ever, doing a withdrawal there and they're like, hey, can we teach you about crypto? Even if you know about crypto, say yes. Literally just say yes. Because they'll just tell you how to get a wallet, even if you already have a crypto wallet, and then they'll just give you $20. So that's kind of like a fringe benefit bonus on BetUS, and it doesn't even require a rollover. They just give you $20 cash in your account. I mean, I wasn't angling for it. I was just talking to them when I was trying to do a payout, and they're like, "Hey, can we teach you about crypto?" And I'm like, "Well, I know about crypto, but come on, we'll give you $20. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like it's worth 5 minutes. And they taught me and I learned and I got $20. So
that's great.
Keep an eye on that message as well.
Because normally when someone wants to give you a presentation, it's like, no, I'm not going to get your timeshare, but it's good to know that they explain it and it's easy. And yeah, we have a post on our website. If you're new to crypto, maybe you just bought some pre-election and you're like, holy shit, I have all this extra money. We walk through how to deposit, withdraw in a sportsbook. It sounds way more complex than it actually is. So even a old school analog guy. I mean, CJ uses crypto, Ryan. So
what are you trying to say?
Well, he's the man in the box. He's
very sharp.
Yes. Well, he's got a sharp clipboard, but he's not known as, you wouldn't think of him as like a computer guy.
Yeah, that's probably fair. That's probably fair. Yep.
I don't think CJ identifies as a computer guy. I don't want to, come up with his own identity, but CJ crypto savvy. So there's hope. Anyone can get in the crypto game. Britton,
is Stan Hope on crypto?
Yeah, actually he is. He's another guy who you would not think uses crypto, but somehow figured it out.
Yeah, you did some business with folks from Costa Rica.
Well, and I would say going way back, depending on how long you've been on the internet, but back in the day, there was that Silk Road where people were buying like illegal drugs and stuff off the internet using cryptocurrency. And it's funny, if you've ever talked to someone who's been in Bitcoin for a long time, a lot of them have those horror stories. I saw this girl tweeted out. So apparently I paid $180,000 for some Molly in 2015 because, at the time it was probably 3 Bitcoins, which was like whatever, $60. Some college kid wanting to party and you're probably kicking yourself.
If you've ever,
everyone has that story if you're in crypto at all.
If you've read I forget, it might've been from like a article in like Rolling Stone, but basically the story of the guy who got the Silk Road creator, the story of him getting taken down, it kind of highlighted like just how within that day he had paid something like, a half a Bitcoin for a pizza or something like that. And it's just like reflecting on like, oh my God, that's a $40,000 pizza. Jesus.
All right. Getting a little sidetracked there, but what do you got on the ladder market for us, Britton?
Yeah. Crypto story time can go on Patreon. Let's go to Dallas Goedert. Banged up a little bit. He was a partial participant at practice today on Tuesday. I think that's trending in the right direction. He's had a pretty quiet season outside of 2 games. He had a 62-yard receiving game and then the 170-yard receiving game in New Orleans. But he is a very good tight end. I mean, there's like 3 to 4 like actually good tight ends, and then the next tier is like Dallas Goedert right there. The secondary obviously is not elite from the Commanders, but they're hoping Lattimore is going to play, which might lock up at least on some plays AJ Brown and or Devontae Smith decide, depending on how it goes. The linebacking core for the Commanders does not impress me at all. Not really the safeties either. Pat Freiermuth had a good game by his standards against this team. So four rung ladder here, starting with 40 receiving yards for Dallas Goedert plus 165, 50 plus 270, 60 plus 450, 70 plus 650. So, probably do, a half unit on 40 plus, then 0.2 units on 50, 60, and then 0.1 on 70. Something like that, or however you're comfortable. I know people get crazy on the ladders. Don't go 10 units each rung of the ladder, obviously. But he is a guy that can have these smash games, and like he could have 85 yards, and you wouldn't necessarily be like, oh yeah, he dominated that game. It could just be picking up a bunch of third downs.
Highly recommend you risk on a ladder total is 1 unit. That's probably the safest guideline I can offer someone.
Yeah, it gets a little rickety up the top. To me, it's like a fun way to split up. Maybe go 1.5 because you like the ladder potential, but certainly I wouldn't do 2 units or anything crazy like that. Some people, I'm sure, get drunk and put 1 unit on each rung of the ladder. I would not recommend putting all your eggs in one basket like that. But hey, if you got a hunch, who am I? Who am I to judge? I'll say this: a good case for Dallas Goedert. I'm going to go to Devonta Smith. Now, Devonta Smith, if you recall, his biggest receiving yard game of all time came against this Commanders team in 2022. Certainly some different players out there, but I wouldn't be surprised if Devonta Smith is the guy that gets loose. If you follow the Eagles closely, there's clearly games where it's like, oh, hey, Devonta hasn't gotten any catches or yards yet. Let's really feed Devonta. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was that game. Now, 2 games ago, Devonta had those amazing catches. AJ got injured. He did a great job filling in. Last game, it was back to the AJ Brown game. Saquon got his, Hurts got some rushing. Devonta barely got any work. I think they're going to come into this game wanting to take advantage of the matchups that Devonta has.
Cry baby.
Now, certainly, no, he's actually like he signed for less money that he could get on the market, and the fact that he's not in a contract year makes it easier to manage, I'm sure. But if you look at his last 4 games, he's averaging 120 yards per game against the Commanders. Now, there was that 169 in there, but still, last year was like 99, 78. I think he could have a very big game, and even 80 yards, even if you're just like, I don't want to do the full ladder, even 80 is plus 270, 90 plus 380, 100 yards, 550, 110 plus 750. He has the deep shot potential. I'm sure Hurts is going to take at least one going to his way. We saw, that phenomenal catch there a couple games ago with the one-handed grab. That was awesome. I mean, it was like one of the craziest plays I've ever seen as an Eagles fan, really. So Devonta Smith receiving yards ladder, I think could be live. Like the angle, like the history against the Commanders, and it does seem
how high does it go?
Turn. DK had up to 110 at plus 750. I'll check BetUS later to see when their prop builder is live. It's usually closer to kickoff. See if they have an extra rung, because I could talk myself into a 125. Kramer, what are you doing?
All right, so if you go back and look at the historical performances of Saquon Barkley against the Washington Commanders, he's had some games, but specifically, and it was the first, I had this written down at the beginning of the week. Specifically, he's had some success in the passing game against them. And I understand that this is completely irrelevant, but I'm going to leverage it because it sounds good when you can say that in 3 of his games against the Commanders, 3 of those 9 games, he went over the top rung of the ladder. I'm
really
about to give you Saquon Barkley receiving yards, 13.5 is the number, which is he's never gone under this number against the Commanders in his career. First rung at 2-1 is 25 yards. 25 yards, a number he's only gone under 3 times, 3 of those games. 40 yards is 5-1, Sean. 5-1. Again, he's done this 4 times in his career against the Commanders. And 50 yards, 9-1. This is this is crazy. We're going to move this number. So get down early, be prepared to see lots of people, whether they're written by people or AI, writing articles about the Saquon Barkley ladder. Anyway, smash spot. Smash! Let's hope it happens before his inevitable season-ending injury.
Oh, Ryan,
but let's hope it gets.
How dare you?
I just want to make sure it happens before that. Anyway,
all right,
9-1. He's done 3 times. He's done this in his career against the Commanders. Unreal.
No,
unbelievable.
That
fine by me. Thank you for noticing.
The self-congratulations.
I'm really proud about this one.
It's a great find. Right?
It's so proud that I made sure to put it in before the show, so you didn't alter any numbers for me or steal it from me.
Okay.
I know you like to do that.
No, I'm quite the thief. Britton, what do we got? Talk a little first touchdown. What's tickling your fancy over there?
First, I just want to celebrate. I just got a confirmation that we hit our NHL slip on Daily Dog from yesterday, so the hot streak continues there.
What did that pay out?
It wasn't the most gaudy one. It was 4.9x, so like plus 390 in sports betting terms. If I can do the conversion from Picks World to sports betting correctly, I think.
Wow, hold on. Warning math.
Yeah, exactly. I think. So congrats to all the listeners on that one. We also had a big Saturday where we hit on Fridays. I give out slips for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We hit 2 slips on Saturday. That was like,
Oh,
combined 15-1 or something. So it's been good over in pick'em land, but we got to translate that to sports betting land where the adults hang out. First TD picks. You want all 3 of my TD picks here? Or are we going to go round robin?
No.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, I'm a Dallas Goedert bull this week. So 20-1. I like it. Red zone target, all that stuff. Then I'm going to Diami Brown on the other side. I hope it doesn't happen, because that will kill all my first quarter squares if Diami Brown is the first one. But 50-1 for the guy that literally, I don't know, maybe 7 out of 10 routes he runs is literally just a fly. Like they're just trying to go deep to him. So if there's a breakdown, any sort of confusion, he's got speed. He's a big play guy who he's not that good, but like just 50-1 is out of line for the type of skill set he has. Last one, a little bit more conservative. I'm a big Devontae Smith guy. I think he's underrated. I think that he could be a wide receiver 1 on a lot of teams. 13-1, a little out of line there as well. So we got 2 pass catchers from the Eagles and 1 from the Commanders. The Commanders is the 50-1 long shot.
Sean.
Yes.
That Diami Brown. I also have Diami Brown. That Diami Brown price is completely incorrect. Of the 3 red zone targets with the Commanders last week, he had 1 of them. He's 50-1. That's just absurd. I'm also on Zach Ertz revenge spot. Come on,
no, never.
20-1. What, are they not watching the games? He's one of their favorite targets. And I normally chop my unit up 4 ways, Sean, but this week I chopped it up only 3 ways. So I have an extra thick half unit on AJ Brown 9-1. Chalky. That's why I had to double up the quarter units. AJ Brown touchdown 9-1. And by the way, the last time he went against Latimer, 4 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah,
which is under the catches, over the yards, and scored a touchdown.
All right. For me, my model wasn't really showing much in the Commanders first touchdown market.
Really, nothing.
Unfortunately, yeah, no, couldn't get
not
to any
even
place.
Bates or Reed Sinnett all the way down there at 95-1. You love a good backup tight end.
No, I would not play Sinnett. I wouldn't play Jack Stoll because he's not on the active roster.
Are people asking you about that?
No, well, he was.
That's pretty embarrassing.
He was on. I saw a sportsbook was listing him. I would not play Jack Stoll.
That's pretty embarrassing. They don't know ball.
He has been released. Maybe they re-signed him to the practice squad. I do like Jahan Dotson. You want to talk about revenge game, a little narrative-y, but 38-1 for a guy that could be involved. Another guy that was getting. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Johnny Wilson had a touchdown last week against the Cowboys. There are some red zone packages for Johnny Wilson, but I'm going to go.
He's big as shit. Of course you got. I mean, what else are you going to use him for?
A guy that they have been trying to work into the game that's not big as shit, but did have 2 catches last week for 6 yards. A guy I could see them running a jet sweep for inside the red zone. A little tricky. Like it's going to be, if there's anyone to get cute in the first red zone drive, it is our buddy Nick Sirianni. So them running like a fake Saquon Barkley to a end around to Anais Smith and him cashing the first touchdown, almost like a Malik Washington, what we saw Monday night. Anais Smith at 60-1. And then this last one, this is crazy to me. And you're going to hear a little bit more about him when we talk D-Gens only. Will Shipley is 100-1. Now, if you're looking for a realistic one,
so Gainwell's out of the way.
So the way this would happen is, I think they kind of so there's a separate Kenny Gainwell role that only Kenny Gainwell does, and then there's the backup to Saquon Barkley is truly Will Shipley and not. So
if Barkley's season-ending injury happened early enough.
No, but we see this where, hey, it's a long drive. Maybe even it's just
Anthony Richardson tapping himself out.
No, but there's been, Barkley breaks one off or it's a long drive. He goes out to get a breather. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a red zone carry for Will Shipley at 100-1. I think he's almost more fun in the last touchdown market. He had a last touchdown in the game against the Bengals that got called back on a holding penalty. That's a fun one if you want to look to that market. But and I'll just transition. to my D-Gens only play.
Hashtag Degens only.
You know I'm a degenerate.
Eagles -9.5. Got to put the Eagles alt in here. Devonta Smith just to get a 30-yard catch at some point during this game, and then I think it's probably the last touchdown. Maybe it's the first touchdown, but at some point in this game, FanDuel has his anytime at 26-1. Will Shipley finds the end zone in this game. Those three items put together in a same game parlay, $100 wins you $14,354.35. Britton, I know you already gave out some 500 to ones.
My God.
But what else you got for maybe a D-Gens only play?
Well, those were just small bets to make the first quarter interesting. This is the
exactly.
serious play. Obviously, this is what everything is building up to. I know you're not going to like this, but we're going to start with Terry McLaurin, alt 70 yards receiving.
Wow.
On this, it's all catch up time. I think that your Eagles guys, the starters that shut them down, they'll be on the bench by now. They're worried about next week. They're resting.
I like it.
Wow.
Then we got a couple minis in here. I know that the famous world renowned segment you guys do on VSiN on Fridays, first any and many.
Yes.
I got two minis. Jalen Hurts, 2 touchdowns. Brian Robinson, 2 touchdowns. And then one final leg. Jaden Daniels under 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Oh.
This is 203-1. Terry McLaurin, 70+ receiving yards. Jalen Hurts, 2+ touchdowns. Brian Robinson, 2+ touchdowns. Daniels under 1.5 passing touchdowns. 203-1. $100 is a cool 20,302.
Perfect that you mentioned the many touchdowns, because Rhythm, not only do they got your props, but they have obviously, hey, you looking for pass yards, rushing yards, receiving yards. They have their recommendation for 1 touchdown. They have a recommendation for 2 touchdowns, and then they even have the 3 touchdown recommendations. They like Hurts as a standalone. They're finding some value there at 6-1. I would shop around, because you could probably get a slightly. I bet you can find a 750 out there in the market, but even at 6-1, Rhythm likes it. And of course, I like Rhythm. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Great for NFL, NBA, college basketball. Super helpful there. So many ways to just build your simple models, and 7-day free trial. I've gotten tons of great feedback from the listeners. 7-day free trial, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Kramer, what is your D-Gens only play?
How dare you call my model simple? All right. So, I already had this kind of pre-built package, and earlier when you mentioned the under on receptions, it was like, oh, this is too perfect. This will juice it up a little bit more. So I added it in. So AJ Brown yards 81.5.
Okay.
Over.
Bink.
Barkley 13.5 over. Ertz 34.5 over. Eagles money line.
You can probably lay the 3.5.
It's not worth it.
Okay.
I was in there. I was in the lab. AJ Brown under 5.5 catches, and Jalen Hurts to go over those passing yards or passing touchdowns. The 1.5, 103-1.
What?
So again, so Jalen Hurts throws 2 touchdowns. AJ Brown goes 5 for 90. Barkley goes over 13.5, just the base of the ladder, something he's done every single time in his career against the Commanders. I threw in the Ertz yardage because it's only 34.5, and his ass is getting some catches against the Eagles. Boom, Eagles money line. Let's go, ship it 100-1.
How does
this feels like hit? This a little bit feels like the one of those Scott Reichel ones where you're like, how does
as he walks you through it, you're like, yeah, no, okay, yeah, actually, yeah, I agree with.
And I need to do. I was told by an anonymous DMer that I need to do more like that. When I do ones like this, they're way closer to hitting than when I give out 2 touchdowns. So going forward, there will be more D-Gen parlays like this and less 2 touchdowns.
Tua catching strays. I see Caleb in the chat. He's really fired up. He's going to the casino. He's going to say he's going to throw $100 on whatever we choose on roulette, either red or black.
15, 17, 18, 21.
No, that's
Thank me later.
That's
Red 7. Red 7.
I would also go red. 7 is also a good number. My birthday's 7/11, so I think we got consensus on red there for you, Caleb. And Britton like 7. And what were your numbers, Ryan? 18.
15, 17, 18, 21.
Okay.
You can thank me later.
Yeah, there you go. So
it's actually it's on a hot streak, Sean. As you know, occasionally I'll go by myself over to the roulette table, put down $100 and put $25 on each number. The last 2 spins I've rolled at the roulette wheel have been winners. $25 on a number.
Oh my God!
So if you want to follow winning advice,
yes.
Do you bring a notepad with you to the roulette table and take notes of what comes down? Because you don't trust that board. That's big casino. You know, you can't trust that recording. You got to write down what numbers you see.
I will say that there was a period of my life. And now, again, if I was young today, I'd be watching all these YouTube videos on these roulette strategies. But I did key in on the idea that it did make sense to me that a single person could throw the ball a certain way, leading to you wanting to study what quadrant the ball was falling in, and then react by playing the entire section of the wheel. Again, there was at the peak of my powers, I was in Vegas way too many times a month.
I used to live there. Let me tell you, YouTube Fibonacci roulette. There's a strategy can't be beat until it does. But hey, when it's on the way up, man, the Fibonacci roulette sequence is pretty awesome.
I watched this. I watched about this martingale system. It looks like as long as you have infinite money, you'll never lose.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if you haven't read the Billy Walters book, definitely check it out. There's a bunch of great, I mean, he gives you like some good, it's a bunch of just like great degenerate gambling stories, and then kind of how he came up with his system and kind of got his shit together. But there's a bunch of, he used to go to war with Steve Wynn, who owned the Nugget. And so he would scout roulette machines, and he found a couple of machines that were like slightly uneven on the roulette tilt,
and they'd land on the same numbers.
So, you know, we're talking like half percentage of a point, and he would pay guys to go sit there, play like the table minimum, but also count and find the weak tables. And then he would come in and he would fuck them up. And then Steve Wynn hated him. And there was like, I don't know, if you're a gambler, you got to read the Billy Walters book. It's a great read, bunch of like fun golf hustling stories, the FBI trying to take him down. Just classic.
Was the story about the pagers, the Nextels in there? Or did we hear that story somewhere else?
And wait, what was that?
Basically, you know, information is valuable, and he basically bribed a kid at the Nextel store, like, hey, I know that all the bookmakers around town communicate on these Nextel walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
If I give you their names, can you get me onto their signal? And he basically had the ability to hear when these guys were talking to each other on their back channel between the major bookmakers. And so he was just listening in.
I don't know if where we heard that, but that definitely sounds,
maybe that was a Bet Bash story.
That definitely sounds right up the alley of stuff he'd be into and angles he'd be playing.
So sharp.
Hey, speaking of sharp, have you signed up over on Underdog Fantasy? What are you waiting for? Get that 50% deposit match up to $1,000. Promo code SGPN. Get you set up there, and then download the Daily Dog podcast. Start getting some winners for Britton. It's just perfect. Like, hey, you don't got any action. It's a random Wednesday. You're like, oh, what am I going to get in on? Oh, hey, I'll fire up Daily Dog, see what Britton's talking me into. I throw a couple bucks on there and have a nice have a fun sweat there with your Underdog entry. It's super fun. And again, Britton does a good job of highlighting and using all the promos and taking advantage of it. Sign up for their Discord. I don't know if it's correlated. It seems like it is, but I think you get like some extra bonuses tied to your username. I got a surprise pick here, setting in my Underdog queue, and it's for NBA. But yeah, the boosts and the promos is really where it pays out pretty nice for you.
Sean, we'll have to talk after the show. I have a college basketball 2K Max boost available. My God.
Well, there you go. Let's start with the Daily Dog himself, Britton Hess. Britton, what's a number? What's a play? What's a fantasy projection you feel pretty good at for Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, we on Thursday Night Football, we literally start doing the slips on Tuesday. So I say we when it's literally a one-man show, no producer, no one else. She literally just me. Although on Thursday's show, Dan Vreeland is going to make his guest debut on the Daily Dog.
Oh, awesome!
Another SGPN family member. But no, I put out a Thursday night slip on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so that we can get some of that value, and we're not just always chasing the dead numbers on Thursday morning. So one I gave out already was Dallas Goedert over 26.5 or higher than 26.5 receiving yards. Now it's higher than 31.5 on Underdog.
Whoa.
So another advantage to listening early to the show. We usually get CLV. We don't always win, but CLV is how I pay my landlord. So it's good for me. I don't know about you guys.
I think it's called closing projection value. CDV.
I mean, Ryan too, like how many times have you been playing these underdogs and you get sniped by like a couple of yards? There's nothing more frustrating than not having it. Certainly if the handicap's wrong, you're going to be cooked one way or the other, but there's nothing worse than having the right handicap and having it fall like 2 yards short. You're like, motherfucker.
That's why sharps like me play numbers, not players.
Play numbers, not players. Teams
I
are
never
not
watched a game in my life. I just look at spreadsheets, and that's how I handicap everything. It's because I'm that smart. Don't you guys understand? I hate sports.
I don't watch the games area of the tout industry is to be the most comical. Kramer and I, and we may have to address it on the NFL Pick Show, but there was a podcast that was discussing the morality of giving out free plays. I don't know if I could sleep at night giving out plays that might not have the expected. What are you talking about? Give out the free plays if people want to play it. Sure, it's up to you. Yeah, I give out a bunch of winners and some are not winners. I don't feel bad about it. I would feel bad if I was charging people and giving them a bunch of shitty losers. But the morality around what about talking about who you like on an NFL Sunday? Get the fuck out of here. Where these guys they take themselves so seriously.
Well, do you know the logistical constraint? Do you know what it takes to actually run a tout business? You're organizing names, you got contact info, you're setting distribution charts. That's actually a job. If you're that good at betting, you're not investing the time and effort to set up your website and all of these channels to contact you. It's such common sense. I don't get why people pay. If it's some people are cheap and you're like, whatever, I don't have time to pay attention and listen to 15 hours of podcasts a day. So I just want somebody to give me picks. I know they're going to win more than they lose, whatever. I would say that, if you want to do that, then pay for the sheets from the SGPN Patreon, because that's a good value and it's going to be as good or better than any tout on the market. But just think about that next time somebody's next time someone comes out and says that they're on an 11-2 run on their last 13 Thursdays. Before you pull out the credit card, just think about the effort they made to make that tweet and to actually put out that content, collect information, and then distribute it. It's are they really that good?
Thank you so much for reminding me.
Great sheet plug.
Oh, great sheet plug, but also reminding me that I noticed our friend Jeff Rosa.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
He deleted his Discord.
November 11th recap tweet. 1-1 minus 1.2 units. Another bad day. 13-11 minus 3.85 units on the season. Bouncing back tomorrow with a beautiful slate. Loaded card today. Let me know if you want a free play. Wonder if that's a lean or a free play. College basketball free play. Villanova minus 2.5.
Oh no! I also like Villanova, but I gave it out for free.
We might need,
and that's CLV. I mean, also do the math there. Okay, do you know what percentage you would have to be hitting at to warrant? I mean, there's the VIG, and then you have to pay what you're paying these guys. If you're paying a season long package that they're charging you, some guys charge $3,000 or something insane. You don't have to be a math genius to know. Okay, imagine $3,000 in profits from NFL betting sides and totals, and then what percentage you would have to be hitting at. And then imagine you're doing that on such a consistent basis that you're giving that away for free instead of just doing it yourself.
I went at pregame at some point back in the day. I did the math on like, they had this graph of like how much you would have made. And I was like, yeah, and this is how much you would have made if you factor in the cost. Turned out it was negative. Let me just put the icing on top of the Jeff Rosa cake. So this was after, it's free play. Didn't go well today. Obviously Villanova -2.5, coached by that mop Kyle Neptune. Tried to warn Sean, didn't listen to me. All right, 2 hours ago. No secret, I have been abysmal to start the season. Only good news is we're only 8 days into the season with plenty of time to get back on track. That is Con Man 101. I'll always be transparent, and after days like today, chirps are warranted. Go after me. 0-5 -4.88 units. We may have broken this man. He's mentally not in the game. His lasers aren't focused.
Not caliber.
Since I've called him out, he's only won a couple picks, period.
And thanks to Caleb hitting us up with the super chat saying thanks for all the locks, even on the roulette table. So yeah, Caleb, I don't leave me hanging. Tell us how our roulette card did. I gotta know how
lost. I think he came up empty.
Really? What are you basing that off?
Caleb?
Yeah.
He said came up empty.
Oh, I missed that. I came up empty on 2 cracks at 15, 17, 18, 21. I'm going to keep my winnings for Thursday night bets. All right. I did miss that. Well, Ryan, you were did
I bully him?
Britton and I were saying, just go red. But we'll see what, he ended up. We need a roulette gambling podcast.
So then there's
our audience would like to.
Last thing I'll say. Then there's this reply from at W Gray Bets, who he appears like trying to give genuine feedback to Jeff to help him out. Why are you charging for picks if you're this bad though? Run a trial or something. People don't deserve to pay for your stuff if you are profitable, man.
And Caleb Ryan updated. He did win the red bet, and then he used his profits to chase the numbers.
Okay.
We created.
Sean won you money, and I lost you money.
And we created a very entertaining experience for Caleb. Shout out to Caleb. All right, got sidetracked there, hating on some touts.
What will Caleb remember longer in his life? When he lost his virginity, or that time he played roulette for Sean stacking the money green?
Now, are you? I got to know now. Are you actually at a physical casino, or like listening to our show, which I can see some of our audience doing, or are you on like a BetUS style online casino?
No,
I gotta know.
100%. He's at a casino. He's got the AirPod in. And he's dropping money on the roulette table.
You know I'm a degenerate.
All right, closing it out with an underdog entry. Britton, we got sidetracked. You liked the Goddard number. It has moved a bit. Anything?
I'm going to Robinson touchdown.
Okay,
and it's a 1.13x multiplier. Again, you get the rescue, or not the rescue. You get the vulture protection with the designated starting running back. I just think that Brian Robinson is going to get all the looks in the red zone and inside the 10 if they get there. He's got a lot of touchdown equity, as we like to say in the fantasy world. So I think Robinson, while it's still a juiced multiplier, is a good projection to look at. I think by the time this game goes off, it'll be maybe even money, or it'll be 1.05x.
Yep. And you can always confirm that your running back's on the list just by clicking the learn more on the vulture. They list out who's eligible each week.
And explain what the vulture protection is for people there new to it, Britton.
So you've got to have, if it's the starting running back and you have them to score a touchdown in the game, if they touch the ball on a drive and then somebody else that's a running back carries the ball from inside the 10 and scores a touchdown, your slip gets refunded if that was the only losing leg. So that's actually helped me in a major way before. It was, especially with like teams like the Chargers, for example, or the Commanders, where they do have 2 running backs that they do just kind of use multiple. They'll use both running backs on the same drive. Steelers are the same thing. They'll use 3 running backs on one drive. Najee Harris is the only designated running back for them and underdog standards. So, if he gets vultured, your slip isn't cooked. And I mean, Brian Robinson with Austin Eckler as a very viable part of this offense.
Yeah, seriously.
Is a very important guy where the vulture protection actually matters. Not so much, for like Derrick Henry, right? Is he really going to get pulled out inside the 5 so they can let Justice Hill lower the shoulder? Probably not. But for this situation where Eckler does have a lot of red zone packages, it definitely is worth using.
And did we get vulture protection, or we got rescued for something a couple weeks back, Sean?
When we did our,
I forget exactly.
We did our happy hour slip for guys.
Oh,
Mike
Evans.
Mike Evans.
They rescued us because he got hurt.
He rescued us. We should have just played the anytime touchdown, but we did. I think we were on yards, and then it got rescued. So we're gonna have a double entry next happy hour.
Right.
Because I already burned through the rescue on my account that I'm putting it in, but we'll figure that out, Ryan, when the time comes. All right, you go, Kramer. What do you got? And Will Shipley is not being offered by Underdog right now.
What do you mean?
They're scared. Maybe they'll offer him closer.
They don't have a fantasy projection on him?
No, Will Shipley, no.
So you're not supposed to play, Sean?
No, he should be playing.
Everyone should have a fantasy projection. I do like your Dotson angle, but yeah, I mean, so I would say that I would present a case that we either go to my Barkley or the Zach Ertz receiving yards. Those to me feel like the smashiest of the plays. Smash! And the receiving yards projection for Barkley is only 12.5.
Yeah, I think I like both. As much as it pains me to see Zach Ertz going against us, I think. I mean, he's just been a huge part. I think you could go Zach Ertz receptions at 3.5, or do you go yards?
I think you go yards.
I mean, no yak Zach has been known to get a bunch of 2-yard, 3-yard catches.
What they're using him for is like he's running a lot of like the deeper seam kind of fill that part of the zone, and I do think they'll run this against the Fangio defense. That's exactly where he's going to go as well. So I would take yards over, but you like Ertz over Barkley?
I kind of like Barkley a little bit more.
All right, let's throw Barkley in there.
So Barkley, receiving yards is set at 12.5.
Barkley to lose a fumble, 4.4x. Yeah,
hater.
I'm not playing that. So I just see that they're offering it.
All right, I'm looking at Jalen Hurts.
No, of course.
Well, because I think. I mean, the anytime is just talking to me. It's sitting right here at they whittle you down a hair.
Passing touchdowns. Look at that juicy price.
Yeah, but the concern is with the rushing touchdowns with Hurts. I think we just put Hurts in the anytime. So Hurts anytime, aka higher rushing receiving touchdown. Barkley higher 12.5 receiving yards, and Brian Robinson Jr. to get a touchdown as well. That's a little spicy. It returns you 6.37x. I'm gonna play this, but I'm gonna replace Brian Robinson with Terry McLaurin.
You can't do it.
I can't play a positive.
You can't do it.
And luckily with the Underdog, it's lower. 61.5 receiving yards for Terry McLaurin. So a little better number than some of the sports books there.
I mean, you just can't help yourself. That could be a winning slip.
It could be, and I like the chances because we got a sharp crew. We got a sharp crew putting it together.
You just said you're not playing it.
No, I'm morally opposed to winning money against the Eagles. But
it's not against the Eagles.
Yeah, kind of it is.
All right.
If Howie Roseman audits his Underdog account and sees that he took he's going to lose his fandom.
I do have a fear that someone will find me and say I'm not a real fan. So yes, I'm hedging against that with replacing it by.
You're
Terry
more
McLaurin.
Fearful of that than potentially Mike Tyson hearing that you think Jake Paul is going to beat him up in a fight.
I wouldn't say I don't think Jake Paul is going to beat him up. But I do think there's going to be some chicanery that would not result in Mike Tyson being the winner of the match.
Oh,
Britton, you're a former Vegas resident. You follow the fight games. Any thoughts before we let you go on Mike Tyson, Jake Paul?
We've seen a lot of Jake Paul fights where he goes against a UFC fighter that literally doesn't train and is multiple weight classes below him and just kind of
like
shows up for just for 500
college wrestler. Yes.
Like Jake Paul is literally paying for the best training. Like he's literally got guys that train championship boxers, and he eats and lives the lifestyle like he's, Rocky, although he's definitely not. Then it'll be like Ben Askren, who can't box, who's a former college wrestler, who shows up over like fat and just collects $500,000, gets knocked out, and moves on with his life like nothing happened. I don't think Tyson will be like that, but here's my problem. Tyson looks great hitting the bag. How are his reflexes reacting to stuff? And also, Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, the former flyweight champion of UFC, he recently retired from MMA. 125-pound champion's right on Jake Paul's radar. It's hard to sell that fight if he loses to Mike Tyson. So, I think it's a fixed fight, and I think that he's going to try to fight a 125-pounder next, because why wouldn't he? He's Jake Paul.
I like that deep theory, but I keep watching these clips of Tyson, and they say the power is the last thing to go. And
it is.
Sean, if he connects, I feel like it could. Oh my God. It's just what everyone wants. It's what everyone wants. Could cause a mass ejaculation.
What?
Tyson
knocking out. Oh, I would. And maybe I'll just put like a small amount on that just to.
What do you mean?
To get that accelerate.
Parlay with the Eagles money line.
Now we're talking. What is it? It's Friday night, right?
Yeah.
What time? Are we going to be on air? Are we going to be competing on air with the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight on VSiN, Ryan?
I think
that could hurt the numbers.
I know the event at the circus starts at maybe 7.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
this will be fun.
I don't know.
I'll be rooting for Tyson. So if I'm rooting for him, maybe I got to put a little sprinkle on him. Britton, always appreciate you hopping on. Make sure you follow him on X at Britton Hess. Subscribe to the Daily Dog podcast. Also the Just Win Sports podcast with Amal Shaw, wherever you find your podcast. And Daily Dog, it's called Daily because it's Monday through Friday. Quick 10-minute episode giving you some underdog entries and some underdog winners. Hey, and speaking of that, download the SGPN app. We mentioned you shouldn't be paying for content or picks. The SGPN app has links to the picks pages, all our podcasts in one easy to download place. The app free, like all our content. So check it out. And I always appreciate tossing rating and review.
Main card is set to start at 5 p.m. Pacific time.
Oh, okay. So
undercard starts at 2:30 Pacific time. So
main card like Tyson Paul.
No,
actually
I think like the main
out?
fight card. So that's usually what, like 3 to 5 fights, depending.
If it was like back in the day, I felt like he always walked out like right before midnight.
East Coast time.
Yeah. So
he's a little older,
he's got to get to bed early.
They also another reason to watch. They are going to be wearing comically large boxing gloves.
Got some pillows on there.
It's we'll see.
There is a women's lightweight 10-rounder in the match before, which could go the distance if you're worried about this thing getting undone or underway too quick. I will say though, Amanda Serrano did get a knockout in her last win, so maybe she's got that in the cards here. To be honest, I'm a UFC guy, not really a boxing guy, just because the cards are usually unwatchable until the main event, and then the main event is usually so delayed. I don't know if you guys were a part of the stuff that was happening in the Middle East with Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury, where it was like 3 hours between like the co-main event and the main event. There was like a full concert and everything. Absolute insanity.
Well, it's
So I
some say maybe scripted.
Little corrupt there. Not that MMA is completely clean, but certainly the boxing game a little tainted out there.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green. He's Ryan.
I guess go Eagles.
Kramer, let it ride.
You know I'm a degenerate.